Never believed in cursed objects until I bought that antique mirror at a garage sale for $10. It was a heavy, silver-framed piece covered in dust and grime. The woman who sold it to me didn't even look me in the eye. She just took the money, handed me the mirror, and whispered, "Don't hang it facing your bed." I laughed it off. I thought it was just a typical urban legend. I took it home to my studio apartment, room 712. It was a small place, barely enough room for my bed, a desk, and now the mirror. I ignored the woman's warning and hung it right across from where I sleep. That was my first mistake. The first night was quiet, too quiet. I woke up at exactly 3:33 a.m. The room was freezing. I could see my breath in the air, a faint white mist. I looked into the mirror, and for a second, I thought I saw my own reflection, but it was different. My reflection was still sleeping. I sat up, my heart pounding against my ribs. Thump, thump, thump. I watched the mirror in terror. My reflection was lying on the bed, eyes closed, breathing slowly. I reached out a hand to touch the glass. The surface was as cold as ice. No, colder. It felt like sticking my hand into a freezer. Suddenly, the reflection opened its eyes. But they weren't my eyes. They were hollow, black pits of nothingness. The thing in the mirror sat up, mimicking my movement, but its smile was too wide, reaching almost to its ears. It didn't say a word, it just pointed directly behind me. I froze. I was too scared to turn around. I could feel something standing right at the back of my neck, a cold, damp breath that smelled like old earth and rotting wood. I looked back at the mirror, and the reflection was gone. The mirror was just a dark, empty void now. I grabbed my phone to call for help, but there was no signal, no Wi-Fi. The clock on the wall had stopped. I looked at the mirror again, and slowly, words began to appear on the glass, written in what looked like dark, thick blood. "We are coming out, David, and you are coming in." I tried to run for the door, but the floor felt like it was turning into liquid. I was sinking. Every time I looked at the mirror, the room looked different. The furniture was decaying. The walls were peeling. I realized then I wasn't in my apartment anymore. The mirror hadn't just shown me a ghost, it had swapped our worlds. I heard a scratching sound, like long fingernails dragging against wood, coming from inside the mirror. A hand, pale, gray, and skeletal, began to push through the glass. The glass didn't break, it rippled like water. I retreated to the corner, clutching a kitchen knife, but the knife turned into dust in my hand. The creature was halfway out now. Its long, matted hair covered its face, but I could hear it whispering. It sounded like 1,000 voices screaming at once. $10, it hissed. A small price for a soul. I looked at the door one last time, and it wasn't a door anymore. It was another mirror. Everywhere I turned, I saw myself, thousands of versions of me, all of them screaming, all of them trapped. And then, the lights went out. Darkness was not empty. It was thick, like breathing in cold smoke. I stood frozen in the center of my room, or what used to be my room. The walls felt soft, yielding like flesh. I reached out to touch the dresser, but my hand passed right through it. Everything here was a shadow, a hollow imitation of the real world. I looked back at the large antique mirror. It was the only thing that looked solid. Through the glass, I could see my own apartment. It looked so warm, so safe. The lights were on. I saw my reflection, the thing with the hollow eyes, walking around my kitchen. It picked up my coffee mug. It was wearing my clothes. It was living my life, while I stood here in the gray void. I pounded on the glass with both fists. Thud, thud, thud. "Let me out," I screamed, but no sound came out of my mouth. In this world, sound didn't exist unless the mirror allowed it. The creature in my kitchen stopped. It turned its head, slowly, creakily, like a rusted hinge. It looked directly at the mirror and smiled. It could hear me. It was enjoying my terror. Suddenly, the floor beneath me began to tilt. I fell, sliding across the cold, transparent floor. I looked down, and my heart stopped. Below the floor were thousands of other people, trapped in tiny, glass cells. They were scratching at the ceilings of their prisons, their fingernails gone, their faces twisted in eternal silence. This wasn't just a mirror. It was a warehouse of stolen souls. I heard a heavy, metallic footsteps behind me. I turned around. It was the woman from the garage sale. But she wasn't a woman anymore. Her skin was made of cracked glass, and her eyes were spinning silver coins. She held a hammer made of black obsidian. "Every mirror needs a shadow," she whispered, and her voice sounded like glass breaking in a cathedral. "You were so easy to trick, David. $10 for a lifetime of service." She raised the hammer. I scrambled backward, tripping over the shadows of my own furniture. I needed to break the mirror from this side, but how? Everything here was a shadow. Nothing was solid enough to break anything. Then I saw it. My phone. It had fallen through the mirror with me, but it wasn't a shadow. Because it was an electronic device, the heat from the battery was still real. It was the only solid object in this ghost world. I grabbed it. The screen was cracked, glowing with a strange, flickering purple light. The glass woman lunged at me. I ducked, and her hammer smashed into a shadow wall, sending ripples through the entire room. I realized then, if I could overload the mirror with a different kind of energy, I might shatter the connection. I turned on the phone's flashlight, setting it to the brightest strobe setting. The light hit the gray walls, and they began to scream. In a world of shadows, pure light is like acid. I ran toward the main mirror, holding the strobe light directly against the glass. The creature on the other side, my reflection, began to smoke. Its skin started to peel back, revealing the black void underneath. The woman in the mirror world shrieked, her glass body beginning to crack. "Stop it," she howled. "You'll destroy us all." Good, I thought. I smashed my phone, the only solid thing I had, directly into the center of the strobe light and the glass. The sound was deafening, a million windows shattering at once. White light blinded me. I felt myself being pulled through a narrow, sharp opening. Pain seared through my body, like 1,000 paper cuts. And then, silence. I opened my eyes. I was lying on my floor. The antique mirror lay in 1,000 pieces around me. My hand was bleeding, clutching the remains of my shattered phone. I looked around. The room was normal. The sun was starting to rise. I stood up, shaking, and walked to the bathroom to wash the blood off my hands. I turned on the tap, splashed cold water on my face, and looked up into the bathroom cabinet mirror. My reflection was there. It looked like me. It moved like me. But as I turned to leave, my reflection stayed in the mirror. It didn't move. It just stood there, watching my back, and slowly, it raised a finger to its lips, whispering a sound that only I could hear. "Shoo."